Welcome to She Coaches Coaches. I'm your host, Candy Motzek, and I'm going to help you find the clarity, confidence, and courage to become the coach that you are meant to be. If you're a new coach, or if you've always wanted to be a life coach, then this is the place for you. We're going to talk all about mindset and strategies and how to, because step by step only works when you have the clarity, courage, and confidence to take action. Let's get started. Hi, friends, and welcome to She Coaches Coaches. Now, for this episode, I've got a couple of warnings for you. The first is a trigger warning. We're going to be speaking about disturbing content for part of this conversation, and it includes sexual and mental abuse. And so I want you to know that it may be triggering for you, and take care of yourself in any way you need to. The second is, if you normally listen to these episodes with your kids while you're driving in the car or on the speaker while you're cooking, I'd highly recommend that you listen to this one with your earphones in. The information we're going to be talking about has got some disturbing components of it. And I just wanted to give you that heads up. All right, so let's dive in. Let's get started. So this is a guest episode, and I am interviewing Anna Maydonova. I met Anna as part of a mastermind, and we've been meeting weekly since, I think it's early December, maybe even November. And I have been so pleased to get to know her a little bit. I've been watching her every week when we talk, and I just knew that there was something special, something a little bit more about her, and that you guys would like her too. And so that's why I invited her to be on this podcast episode. Anna is a woman of deep courage and inner strength. And when I met her for the first time, she has this sunny, friendly, open way about her. But there's something else too, something deeper. And while she is all of that sunny, sweet, kind disposition, she's also far more. The three words that come to mind when I think of her are love, courage, and brilliance. And I mean all the kinds of brilliance that you can think of. She's got a keen, focused intelligence, and she is a brilliant, shining light. And we need more of that in this world. Anna is the host of the world's best trauma recovery podcast. Her show is a safe place where you can listen in on how people, just like you, have reclaimed their power, kickstarted their healing process, and have taken back their lives. And they're now inspiring a new generation of empowered individuals to break the cycle of trauma in their lives. Anna is a coach, and she is affectionately known as the world's best life optimization coach. She empowers others with her ultimate courage and stories of healing and forgiveness. Systemic sexual abuse, 2 forced abortions by a stepfather, and then 15 consecutive miscarriages were once her only story. But now it's different. Her story is that she has reclaimed her power. She has freed herself from that tether of shame and pain. And she'd made it her life purpose to help others do the same and live the life of their dreams. So let's dive in. Welcome, Anna. I'm so glad you're here.
Candy, thank you so much. I have to tell, you're a master at introducing people. So, wow, what an introduction. And I'm so glad to be on your podcast. It's one of the most wonderful podcasts I've ever listened to. So to your listeners, if you haven't listened to the first 78 podcasts, this is the place where you must go.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind. All right. So let's start with your story, because everything that you're doing right now to contribute to the world started because of your story. So can you share that with us, please?
Yeah, absolutely, Candy. Everything started when I was 4 years old, when my biological father left us and never returned. My younger brother was 9 months old. And so my mom became a 24 years old single mom of 2 during the Russian economic depression. It was very hard for us. Sometimes we had no money. And so I had to be strong for my mom. And, I felt like I can do anything I want, but I was wrong. 6 years later, she met another man, and we were so excited. Finally, we're gonna have a man in our family, a protector. But just a couple of months later, I've realized that he's not the man that will protect us. My 6-year-old brother did something wrong in my stepfather's opinion. And I saw him grabbing his army leather belt, dragging my younger brother to another bedroom and locking the door behind him. And I just could hear how my younger brother was yelling and screaming and begging for help. Mommy, help. But my mom couldn't do anything. She was so afraid of him. And she just grabbed me so strong and she covered my ears with her hands until my stepfather was done. It took my brother a few days to recover. And then I realized that's not what we were expecting. And my stepfather was an army guy. He was very strict, very disciplinarian guy. So since then, we were beaten for everything, for the bad marks in the school, for not cleaning the house perfectly enough, for not taking our dog out in time. And this abuse was getting worse and worse. And then when I just turned 15, that's when sexual stuff happened. Followed 2 forced abortions, one at 15, another at 16. It resulted in now 15 consecutive miscarriages, including 2 ectopic pregnancies. One nearly claimed my life in 2019. That was my only story. I didn't know what was happening. When I moved to Australia, I started to build my life. I found a man of my dreams. We wanted to have a baby, but I was losing my pregnancies. And 10 different doctors in Australia couldn't find any physical reason, like nothing at all. And only I knew what was happening and why it was happening. And that was a big deal for me to start my healing journey. So I wanted to see whether my trauma is preventing me to make my most cherished dream to become true. And you know what? During my healing process, I was able to forgive my stepfather who did it to me. I was able to forgive my biological father who wasn't there when I needed him the most. I forgave my mom for not being able to save me. And I forgave myself. And the magic happened. It was such an amazing feeling. I felt free of shame for the very first time. I got so much energy and I got so much space that just filled up with the light. And that's my message. This is my most biggest dream, to help people to feel the same way.
Thank you. And I know that, you shared your story before, but every time you do, it's still intensely personal and powerful. And the listeners who are listening to you, they can feel the journey that you went on. And I think, we all know people who have had terrible traumatic things happen in their life. We all know that. And many of us have experienced things as well. The difference is this piece of forgiveness. And, so somebody might be listening to this and they might be going, how did she do that? How does she start that healing journey? How does she forgive for these past abuses? So talk to me a little bit about that. How did you forgive?
I've realized that if I won't forgive, I wouldn't be free of tyranny, of pain. So the forgiveness, it was the way to free myself. I'm not saying, you don't have to keep your perpetrator accountable. Forgiveness is to understanding what this trauma was teaching you about. It was understanding what was happening in my perpetrator's childhood life. It's understanding of my mom, why she was so codependent on my stepfather, why she was scared of him. And it was understanding of my biological father, why he left us in the first place. And then it was understanding why some of my reactions were not the way that I wanted. And I'll give you an example. When the first abuse happened, my stepfather told me if I tell to anyone, he will destroy my mom's, my brother, and my life. He was threatening me with their lives. And she inserted so much fear in me that if I tell my mom, she will believe him, not me, and that she will hate me for trying to destroy their marriage life. And so I was really, really scared to tell her. It was it was worse than a death. And I was holding this guilt for not telling my mom, for not responding on the way that I wanted to respond. Because when it happened for the first time, I got frozen. And I was blaming myself why I didn't start yelling, screaming, or, fighting back. But then I understand, hold on, I was conditioned. I was conditioned to be a good girl because I saw how violent my stepfather can be. And I was so scared for my life, for the life of my brother and my mom, that I was martyring myself. I was sacrificing myself for my family. So helping me to understand why some of the reactions were coming, or why my perpetrator was doing this. I'm not saying it's okay, but it's just for myself. It helped me to free myself from tyranny of this pain. I stopped being a victim. I took my life back in my hands.
I just want to ask this. And so, sorry, just back to that feeling of frozen, that is like a standard trauma response that happens. Everybody has, a knee-jerk response that happens in the face of extreme danger. And it is your body's way of trying to protect you.
Yes.
So I hear that and I think, well, of course. I mean, what else would have happened? Do you remember the moment that you decided to start your healing journey?
Yes, I do remember. It was actually funny. It wasn't just the one day. It was a few voices that I had in my head. Firstly, moving to Australia, I saw a different reaction from people to the childhood sexual abuse survivors. It wasn't much judgment. And it helped me to feel more comfortable to open up. Secondly, my partner being so honest and open with me and vulnerable about his past, that it helped me to feel more safe and secure to talk about my trauma. took me 20 years to tell about my trauma. No one knew, apart of one friend who I told back when I was 15. So for me, it was a huge shame. And then my miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage. There is no physical evidence why it's happening. And I was wondering, I wonder whether my trauma, my body remembers those 2 abortions and it takes it like a warning, like a danger, and it just pass it on. So it made me think, okay, maybe there is something deeper in me I have to heal in terms of to become a mother.
So I've got all kinds of questions in my head. And, so one of the reasons that I wanted you to come on this podcast was because you're up to big things. And I know that, as your podcast grows and as you grow as a coach, it will help many people. And, so this is like a yes and moment. There is more room for others to hear your message. And so my thought was, and it still is, that maybe there's somebody who listens to this episode. Maybe they just hear it just kind of by random. And that just in sharing the message, you may never meet that individual. They may never actually connect with you, but just in sharing that message, maybe you're one of those sparks for them to start making changes. Maybe they have experienced horrific abuse. Maybe not. Maybe it's something that's just been troubling them and they've been holding on to shame and guilt over any number of things. And maybe this is the spark that helps them to release it. And so this place of forgiveness for me is this place of, there is such a power here, So you beginning your healing journey, speaking openly about what happened to you, speaking openly about your healing journey, and then creating this podcast. The podcast, I have to go look at the name again because it's such a cool name. Just a second. Sorry,
the world's best trauma recovery podcast.
Yeah. So talk to me about this concept, world's best trauma recovery podcast. Why world's best? What's the mindset there?
Candy, I'm so glad you asked me this question. World's best, and I'm the world's best life optimization coach. It's not an ego thing, as many of people can think. Not. This is my commitment to myself. This is about me waking up every morning and asking myself, how would the world's best life optimization coach conduct yourself? This is
question.
My intention.
Yeah, one question. And I've been teaching this a lot with my clients as well, the value of keeping things really simple. Our ego brings in complexity. And if you can create your practice and create your skill and hold yourself to that standard and commit to yourself with just this one phrase, the world's best. In your case, the world's best life optimization coach. For your podcast, world's best, right? And using that as your guide. And what I love about it is that it's not set in stone, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not about you actually being the gold medal winner at the Olympics. It's about being the world's best in your life and for the life of the people around you. And always aspiring to grow, always aspiring to take that next step, because who you are now is magnificent. And who you are a week from now will be even more, and a year from now, and 2 years from now, and 10 years from now. And what a way to create a legacy. I just love that. I love that concept. Yeah, it's so cool.
Well, spot on, Candy. There can be people world's best at anything. Just ask yourself,
Yeah.
What am I world's best? What sort of problem am I solving? What am I helping people with? So it's not about being number one in the world. It's about the commitment. Hey, I want to grow. I want to help people.
And I think that this is the place that is really helpful for the listeners as well. And so I would call out to the people that are listening to this episode, whether it's current or whether, it's been live for a while. What are you the world's best at? How do you want to challenge yourself? What kind of a mark do you want to leave on this world? What kind of a legacy could you have? So that's the question, right? How could they be the world's best every day? And what would they choose to be the world's best at? And so, can you think of a way to sort of fine tune that question that would make it even more powerful for them?
Yeah, absolutely. If you really want to find yourself, what am I world's best at? If you want to find your chosen niche, ask yourself first question, what am I so good at that other people find challenging? The second question, what many people ask me an advice about? And third question is, what sets my soul on fire? That's some really, really great start to find out what is my why, what is my passion, and then get a courage, get a balls to call yourself the world's best, and then make this commitment to yourself, and then wake up every morning and ask yourself a question: how would the world's best in your chosen niche, as you say in America, coach would conduct himself or herself?
Yeah, I love it. Such a power in claiming it for yourself. And you're the only one that can do that, right? So listeners, exactly. I would encourage you, figure this out. Ask yourself those questions that Anna said, and then claim it. That's the place of courage, claiming it for yourself, that is what you're going to be. This has been so great. I'm really pleased that you've been here and been part of the podcast. Now, for the people that have listened and they want to hear your podcast, they want to learn more about you, they really resonate with your message, how can they find out more about you?
I am on Facebook. It's Anna Maydonova. I'm on Instagram as well, Anna Maydonova, and on LinkedIn. You can find me on, can I start from the beginning? So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. It's Anna Maydonova. I'm posting lots of wonderful and motivational and transformational stories of myself. And you can find more information about my upcoming masterclasses or coaching sessions. So if you have any questions, just go there. And my website is coming soon. It will be annamaydonova.com.
Awesome. That's just great. And I'm going to put those links in the episode notes so people can just click through and check out more about you, follow you on Instagram, follow you on Facebook, and get connected. And I'd encourage anybody who is moved by this message to DM Anna, reach out to her, talk to her, connect with her. She is a wealth of information, and I know that you would love being more connected with her. So that's it for today, you guys. I have been so honored to have Anna here as my guest. I hope that you listened to this interview and you found within yourself a place where you can have more courage, where you can claim that world's best mindset for yourself. And then also, if this has reminded you of some unfinished business, some unfinished pain in your life, that maybe you're holding on to some shame and guilt about, this is the time for you to be courageous and to get help. Reach out. Therapy is always going to be the first step for you. And I would deeply encourage you to, how would I say it? Commit to yourself that your life is worth healing and having an amazing life. So thanks so much, everyone. And we'll talk to you again next week. Thanks again for listening today. please hop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. Also, I would love to hear from you. Did something that I say resonate? What else would you like to learn about? Click the link in the player and leave a comment on the post. This is going to give me great ideas for future episodes so I can help you best. Join me again next week for more coaching, support, and teaching to help you become the confident coach you are meant to be.